Ugh! So the lady that wrote The Yearling, we're about to see her house and a bunch of other stuff. And I got Thomas. And Marie's over there somewhere. She's hiding.
You locked your car, right? Yep.
I already told you I have Thomas.
What is this?
She's gonna touch it. It's Marie's Life Vlogs. Go subscribe because she's awesome. Got Marie's Life Vlogs and Thomas. So go subscribe to this lady because she's awesome. Let's go check this place out.
Secrets of...
Where are you reading?
Here, you read that. Read it for us, Henriette.
This?
The whole thing, yeah.
Cross Creek belongs to the wind and the rain, to the sun and the seasons, to the cosmic secrecy of seed and beyond all time. Marjorie Kidden Rawlings, Cross Creek, 1941.
So in 1941, this was her home.
Is that her?
I guess so. That was in later years, because the picture we got earlier.
She's got a doggy.
She was, oh yeah.
His name's Mo.
Mo?
Mo. Oh, little baby deer. I don't know if you guys can see.
So, her house is here somewhere. Can you see her house? Maybe it's still here?
Oh, those
Hello.
are restrooms down there. Yeah.
Rawlings' house.
Oh, her house is down here?
Wanna go first?
Work hours 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Yeah.
Oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read that?
Yeah, sure.
It is necessary to leave the impersonal highway, to step inside the rusty gate and close it behind. One is now inside the orange grove, out of one world, in the mysterious heart of another. And after long years of spiritual homelessness, of nostalgia, here is that mystic loveliness of childhood again. Here is home. That's pretty.
Marjorie
I think it's Kinnan.
Kennan Rawlings.
Mm-hmm.
Cross Creek. 1942.
Look at the trees. They're like something out of Tarzan.
Something
It's
out of
crazy.
what-
Yeah.
You want to swing across it, Thomas?
You know what? I would get up there and that freaking thing would break and I would fall on my ass. And this one would laugh like he did with the lizard. It's okay. I'm not mad. What is that? What is right there?
Oh my God.
What the hell is it?
It's the camera.
Is it a camera? Hi. It's probably so people don't like. Ugh!
Whose is that?
Did you do that?
I don't think so.
You guys didn't see me freak out, but you seen the camera move. Shit. This is... It feels different back here. Like, I can't describe it. It's like, you know, the things that you walk through a different, like, world. It feels way different back here. It's pretty cool, though. It's pretty cool. Look at all the yurts she had. Wow. I wonder if these are orange trees. Yes, Thomas. Thomas! Are these orange trees? Oh, there's something on it. Oh, guys. They're green like that? Oranges are green like that when they first start growing?
Yeah.
I wonder if she's seen that. They look like those, He's gonna sniff it. What's it smell like?
I think it's lime.
Oh, you can smell that? Is so weird. We have to show her that because I think she completely missed that. There's like shit over. What is that? It looks broken. We like broken, creepy things. This is just my life now. Oh, it's huge. What a pretty little house. Oh, it's a gate. My dumb ass. There is a building back there, but I'm not sure what it is. That tree and the palm tree are like growing together. Oh, my whole camera moved. Oh boy. It's a historic landmark. A flower. Oh, that's like one of those riding things over there for like a tractor. This is pretty cool. What's up here? Whoa! You guys see the lizard? Look at him. Please don't jump on my face because I would be so pissed. A guided tour. Huh. Tell us about your visit. So you do that after you leave, I guess. Is this like a barn?
Kind of looks like maybe it was a kitchen at one time.
If something like flies out at me.
I bet you it goes into the barn. Nope.
Oh.
TV. Wow, fancy.
I was expecting something to jump out. That was.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, there's all kinds of stuff back here. Look at that wheelbarrow.
Yeah, that's cool.
I bet you nowadays that would break. It looks old. Interesting. It's like a tractor thing. It looks legal.
Really sweet.
Doesn't look very comfortable, does it?
It's not. I used to have one.
Oh God.
Growing up.
A little boat. Oh. Can't use that boat now, can you, Thomas?
No. You can use it, you just won't go very far.
No, you'd end up in the water. End up very wet. Whoa. No way. That is really cool. It smells like maple syrup in here.
Yeah, I can smell it too.
It's weird.
You must have cooked it in here.
It smells good. That's interesting. Guys, I'm in flip-flops and a dress in sand. I almost fell on my ass. This is like a feed bag, maybe, for a horse. See the film Cross Creek? There's a lot of really cool stuff in here. Kind of reminds me of my papa's barn up north. Stuff for the horses. Isn't that like that looks like a butter churn. That does. A broken one.
Yeah.
There's like fur over here. Huh.
Don't trip.
You would laugh. So I guess they hooked the horses up to that?
Yeah.
That's where they put the hay, because my grandpa has a barn like this. Ooh. Is there horses? No. I just got so excited I thought there was horses. But there's not. Fooled again. Look at that rake. Looks like it's gonna break.
Yeah.
Are these chicken coops? I remember this one time, my mom used to babysit her friends' kids, and they were these bad kids. And they tricked me into getting into a dog cage, and they locked me in there.
Oh my god.
And me and the youngest one were like trying to hide from the oldest ones because they kept torturing us. It was great. Hi, chicken. Please don't run at me. Please don't hurt me. I just want to say hi. I'm scared. Hi, chicken. You know what? This is gonna be like the freaking goats all over again. Remember that really mean goat? Hi. Please don't. Ooh.
Oh, that's a rooster. They're mean.
You keep your furry ass right there. I want to touch it, but I'm scared. Hi, chicken. Hi, chicken. Yeah, buck, buck. There's an orange on the ground. You. I want to ring that bell. I wonder if that one's an orange. Does that one smell different?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one smells like an orange. You're so cute, but I'm so scared of you. I just want to pet one so bad, but there's a rooster and he looks really mean. Don't you look at me like that. I don't like the way he's looking at me. Can I just record you or are you gonna like attack me? Oh, you big and bad. Nuh-uh-uh, you stay right there. Oh. Oh, there's duckies. Oh, guys, look at the car. Yes? There's a kitty? Look, he's being mean to that chicken. I want to go pet one, but they look so mean. She says there's a kitty. Oh. Oh, I'm scared of that rooster.
Yeah?
Yes. Hi, kitty. There's orange and lime trees.
What do you think of the cat?
I want to touch him. Is he real?
Look at
Hi,
him.
kitty.
Look
You
at
look like Apollo.
It looks just like Apollo, I know.
Hi.
It's got the same eyes and everything.
Hello. Oh, you're so soft. That's creepy. That looks just like
Got
him.
Apollo's eyes. Look at the eyes.
You look just like Apollo. Oh, he's soft.
Mm-hmm. Get him to open his eyes some.
Hey.
Hello. Yeah, send that to him.
Hi.
That's crazy.
There's ducks.
There's chickens everywhere.
He looks scrawny. So many chicken nuggets. Look at that. Can you go in there? Hi, ducky. Come here. Come here, ducky, ducky. Oh, Tim would tweak if he seen you. They got their own little pond. Hey, ducky. Oh, you're so cute.
Posing for you?
Yes. Hi.
Hi. I'm going to do a tour of the house if you're interested in doing the inside tour.
Oh, sure.
I started at the barn over here.
Awesome. I want to touch you. Can I touch you? Nope. You won't let me. There's a garden over there. I'm gonna go take a house tour, I guess. Thomas! Here they come! I am so scared.
Well, anyone who's a fan of University of South Carolina Athletics, there's your mascot.
Yeah?
He's a gamecock.
He looks mean.
There's a game hen, the smallest one.
Oh, hi. Hi, chicken.
Fat hen, normal hen. Welcome to Marjorie Canaan Rawlings Farmhouse and Orange Grove. Canaan is how she pronounced that name. It's not Canaan.
We said it wrong.
She didn't correct you.
Yeah, we said it wrong.
Two pieces of business before we start the tour. There's a $3 fee to go through the house tour, which is separate from the park entry fee, which you've already paid. And that's our attempt at $3 was to keep it competitive with Disney World.
Disney.
Keep it competitive with
I hope
Disney.
you have change.
Disney's super expensive,
Since I
guys.
did,
Yeah,
I think it-
yeah, we do it every Christmas.
Oh.
Thing about Disney, it's great. I mean, the man was a genius. I mean, there's no question about it. It's a spectacular place. It's in Florida. It is not. It is. It's Florida. And his army of creative men and women, geniuses, can't recreate that.
Hmm.
This is Florida. This is the majority of Florida, as a matter of fact, is the inland part of Florida. And it's preserved, and I give the state park system credit for maintaining it. We don't make money. $3 a head. We're not very, very expensive to run. There's a lot of old volunteer types and everything. We make it happen.
How many acres is it, or miles is it? That's probably what you're about to say.
Yes, it's 72 acre. She and her husband Charles, who's seen the movie Cross Creek?
And read the book.
You've read the book.
And saw the movie. Did y'all? Oh
No.
my gosh, yes, you've
Well,
got to.
You've got to read the book.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to be an imperative, but I would strongly recommend you read that book. The movie gives you a lot of bad information. She didn't come here by herself. She came here with her husband Charles in 1928. And they came here to purchase an orange grove and write, because they're both writers. And they wanted to get out of the work world in Rochester, New York, where they were living. She's not from Rochester. So they could, instead of listening or obeying the daily deadlines and the city editors, she wanted to write novels. She wanted to write Gothic novels. Wuthering Heights, Pride and Prejudice. That's great literature. And that's the highest level of the women literature, and that's what she wanted. And she met him in college. She went to the University of Wisconsin in Madison. How did she get there? Well, she was born and raised in Washington, D.C. in 1896. It's her birth year. And she graduates high school in Washington in 1914, and she enters the University of Wisconsin to get a degree in English literature. That's where she meets him. He enters at the same time. He's a freshman with her, and they're both in writing classes because he wants to be a writer too. So they graduate in 1918. They marry the following year, and when she wants to write novels, they don't have that luxury. They need to earn money. So they work in newspapers to use their writing skill. They both get a position at the Courier Journal in Louisville, Kentucky. They stay there a year and a half. Not a lot of opportunity. And then they move on to Rochester, New York, which is where they were living before they came here. Rochester's got a lot of opportunity. That's his hometown. It's a big industrial city. It had 5 daily newspapers at that time. And 9 years passes. Marjorie's just doing great in newspapers. I mean, her talent is undeniable. She's doing wonderfully. Charles is not writing at this point. His writing, this is important to the story, his writing was their reaching to her. And his ego couldn't handle that. Meanwhile, there's no shame in that. She's a great writer, but he is having some struggle with that. So his time is just slipping by. See, they decide to make change. They get invited to come down here and visit with his brothers. He and Ray Rollins came to Florida in the 20s to make their fortune, which was an old story. A lot of people did that. And they located in Island Grove, 4 miles from here, because this is all citrus country. That Island Grove, surrounded by groves, Orange Lake, Citra, 2 miles north, all the way up the line, all the way up to Jacksonville, Orange Park, Mandarin. Everything's in oranges, and there's money in oranges. That's what brought the boys down as entrepreneurs. They invite Charles and Marjorie to take a break to Rochester in March 1928. Anyone know what Rochester, New York is like in March? It's still dead winter. It's
Cold.
frozen. Those lake effect snows are rolling in still, and it's been going on for months. And they get a break, the opportunity to come down here, and they take it. And March in Florida, you all live in Florida? March is the month. I mean, it's the grapevine. It's perfect. Days are warm. Nights are cool. The humidity isn't here yet. Mosquitoes are still hiding out. It's such a perfect time. In this area, the orange trees make it a perfume. They're in bloom in March. Have you been around an orange grove in bloom? Unforgettable. And they have a great 2 weeks, and they decide to make the big change in their life and buy a little orange grove and move here permanently. idea, great idea, right? What could go wrong? So they head back. They ask the brothers to find a little orange grove, something they can afford. The brothers go out enthusiastically, and they go looking, and they find this place where we're sitting. 72 acres, 1,600 mature producing orange trees. So it's a working grove. It's a turnkey deal. It includes the barn, the house, all of the
So
implements.
all this was already here?
All of it.
Oh.
Right.
Wow.
The trees were over there, where you see that wood. That was
Mhm.
all orange trees. There were 1,600 of them.
Oh, wow.
Actually, there's another 8 acres, not contiguous.
That's crazy.
But those were the choicest of oranges, just a little further down the road. So this whole thing is up for sale. 72 acres, 1,600 produced trees, for $14,400. No shooting match. Seems like a pity, but for all that, but it was a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, back in the day, it was.
Yeah. Marjorie had some money from an inheritance. $7,000 went down in cash, and they swung the deal by signing a note. And the deal gets done in November 28th. They arrive to take possession of their orange grove, sight unseen. Brothers are telling them what to expect. They're enthusiastic about it. Chuck and Marjorie are coming. And they get here, and Marjorie, who is fixated on doing these Gothics, she sent a lot of manuscripts in, all rejected. None of the publishers wanted it. She says that she wasn't willing to spend time to concentrate on dividing her attention to newspapers. So they get here very quickly. But when she walks on this property, you've read the book. It was an epiphany. She's found her place on earth. She said it was like falling in love with another human being. It was a little moment of terror. It was for better or for worse. This is forever. And that's how she felt about it. Charles didn't feel quite that way about it. But they're young, they're starting a new life, 32 years old, enthusiastic, the place needed a lot of work, hadn't been lived on for a year, it was a mess. But they're young enough and they're enthusiastic. And Marjorie starts to drift in her attention from the Gothic to this. The beauty that she sees here, I don't know if everyone sees that. It's a dark beauty. It's subtropical beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So if you walk 10 feet in there, you're in this dark, beautiful, almost cathedral-like setting, and it just stirs her soul. And she starts to write about it. And she writes a little short story in 1930 called Cracker Chitlings. And it's based on this backdrop and these crackers, the locals who live around here. They're not global. They're poor, desperately poor. And she sees them walking down the dirt road, and her heart goes out to them. She's not sure what to make of them. And then she gets to know them, and her opinion changes completely. They're fascinating. They've got the essential human qualities that people lose when they live in cities. They still got it. They have a pride and a dignity, and there's a self
Here he comes.
code of helping each other. These people live in a way that she finds fascinating. She starts writing her first short story about that these people in this backdrop, sends it out to the publisher. She knows all their addresses. She's been sending them stuff for years, and all rejected. And Scribner's magazine picks this up. The literary magazine of the day. Great writers place stories in Scribner's. So, what a development. She's unpublishable. And then she writes her first little short story, and it goes right to Scribner's. That's the very top. And she got a $150 check for that. And it was very needed, because they got here in November of 1928. You know, she never mentions this in Cross Creek. 1 year later, in October 1929, you know that day, October 29th, 1929, Black Tuesday, the market crashes, the Great Depression begins, the economy collapses, the price of these valuable and lucrative oranges collapses. So they're in trouble immediately. The Depression hits. The value of this stuff is down, flat. They're not going to leave. They're going to gut it out. Marjorie certainly will. She leaves here, it's over. She's going to have to go to some stupid newspaper somewhere. This is it. She cannot. She writes another short story in 1932 called Gal Youngin, a finalist for the O. Henry Award. Still awarded today. Goes to the best short story in the country. She's a finalists F. Fitzgerald, Ring Lardner, Pearl Buck, and Marjorie Rawlings. So she's right up there with the top, and she wins that. And she's a nobody from nowhere, and she wins the O'Hanley Award. The next year, she writes her first full-length novel. It's called South Moon Under, and it was researched by living with a pioneer family in the Big Scrub, which is the Ocala National Forest today, the Fiddy family. She stayed with them for 10 weeks, and she learned life. And they accepted her, and she writes a novel, South Moon Under, and at this time, you know, the marriage wasn't being helped by all this early success that she was having. That was the problem they had. She's trying to get this manuscript completed in early 1933, and the marriage unravels. And he's not happy here, he's going to try something else, and he leaves before the manuscript gets submitted. And while he leaves, she also happens to be in the throes of malaria. So
Oh,
she's
no.
walking out the door as consider her situation. She's a woman alone on a mortgage farm in the Great Depression, trying to get her writing manuscript completed. And she's fighting malaria at the same time. How many obstacles can you throw in front of somebody? It's everything.
Right.
It's a ton of weight, but it's not going to stop her. It gets submitted. Scribner's publishes it. Maxwell Perkins is the editor who discovered her when she wrote her short story, Cracker Chidlings, and he helped guide her a little bit. And the thing gets published in 33, and it is immediately acclaimed by the critics for its value, for its literary value. It's nominated for the Pulitzer Prize, and it goes through the judging process, all the way to the very end. She's a finalist between two books. South Moon Under doesn't win, The Good Earth by Pearl Buck wins. So, but she's writing at that level. She's writing with the greats, almost immediately. So, I mean, it's pretty clear she found it. But now she's alone, and she's got to keep this thing rocking. And it's not bringing in a lot of money. The money from South Moon Under painted the house. Because when they got here, the house wasn't painted. It looked like a barn. It's an old cracker farmhouse in the 1880s. And had a tin roof. It was derelict. The place hadn't been lived on for a year. So she's got that to worry about and make it livable. She's got her oranges to maintain. Because these trees are fragile. And they require a lot of money. If you don't maintain them, you're going to lose them. So that's heavy, and they're not making money on their own. And she's got the mortgage to pay. And that's the load that she's carrying on her own. And in 35, she writes her second book. It's called Golden Apples, also nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. Doesn't make it that far in the judging. It has some flaws. Writing a short story, and then in 38, she writes The Yearling. And that's the game changer. That is explosively successful. It's global. It's a blockbuster. In every way possible, it's a blockbuster. On the best-selling list in this country for 93 consecutive weeks.
Wow.
It doesn't happen very often. It wins her the Pulitzer Prize the following year. It's a top-of-mind book. It sets a record for the number of languages a novel had been translated into up to that time. So it's global in its reach. And she's now in a different category. This is international literary fame and stardom. And then MGM comes along, and they know a good story when they see it, and they buy the movie rights from her for $30,000. And that's
Wow.
the game changer. She's no longer in debt. She no longer has to worry about money. It changes everything, except her. It doesn't go to her head. That's not what she's doing here. She's here to fulfill what her heart's desire is, and that's to write this literature. It's not to get rich. She's not writing for money. She says that, and I believe her. She said when she was writing Gothic, she was writing for money. She figured it out. I was writing when I thought people would love me. And then she lets that go. And then she becomes more famous, and the world beats a path to her door. Isn't that poetic?
Mm-hmm.
No, she wasn't writing. She wouldn't even take an advance. She needed them. And if you take an advance, then you're writing for money. And she wouldn't do that. She'd struggle until she got her work done. So now she is very, very famous. What's happening in her private life when Charles leaves? Soon after that, she meets her future second husband, Martin Baskin. And he's not a writer. He's a businessman. It's a good thing. The writer thing didn't work out very well. He runs hotels. He's running Hotel Marion in Ocala. And they hit it off. There was a definite attraction there. And early on, Norton wants to get married. She left. Had that. She had 14 years of it. She explained her marriage in a letter to her aunt. I read her letters. And this is the most succinct summary of a marriage I think I've ever heard. Marjorie was telling her aunt what happened. It was her job to make sure the marriage stayed together. That was the expectation in those days. It was a woman's job. And it didn't happen. She said, the first 5 years, I cried. The second 5 years, I fought. And the last 4 years, I didn't give a damn. That's her marriage. Who else could sum it up like that, other than a great writer? That was the way she had to, that's how that marriage ended. She wasn't ready to get married. Norton wanted to, she didn't. Then in a few years, she wants to, and he doesn't. And then it's kind of going that way until 1941. And they get on the same page, and they get married. And they open a hotel jointly in St. Augustine. They buy a mansion, called the Warden family mansion, and they convert it into a hotel. And they're in business together on this. They had married the year before the hotel opened, and it's called the Castle Warden Hotel. Very, very successful. St. Augustine was where people would winter in those days. They didn't go to Miami. Flagler got them all down on his railroad to his big hotel down there, and that was the place in the wintertime for people. So this hotel was very successful, and Marjorie was known to be associated with it. And she is an international literary scholar. So she couldn't live there going on. Because living in a hotel is precarious. Everyone trying to get a look at her, and the excitement and the noise. This is what she wants. You can hear it. This is peaceful. She needed to get it right. Norton couldn't live here and run it because she never had a phone here. So they're living apart, but it's not that far. It's an hour and a half. And that's the style, and that's how they're living. In 1953, she has a heart attack, and it's not fatal, and she's under doctor's strict orders to recover and follow my orders, go over to the beach, you can recover from this. She goes over there, she doesn't follow the orders. She's in a book project. She's researching another book. She's got things going on. And there's no reason to, there's no surprise why she had a heart attack. She had some habits, some bad. She chain smoked Lucky Strikes. Chain stuff. And that's non-filtered, constant companion. And alcohol. She's famous for her, she had to have her cocktails. Alcohol is part of her life. And she was a gourmet cook. People don't know this. She was a self-made gourmet cook. She had a Jersey cow. You know what Jerseys are famous for? The fat content of their milk. That's the big three. Drinking, smoking, fat. And she had that. She had the ups and downs that an artist gets. She's not a placid pool, as she said. There's turmoil underneath that. And it comes together, and it takes her on December 14th, 1953, while she's playing bridge with Norton and their friends. She's a great bridge player. And she has a cerebral hemorrhage, a massive stroke. And they rush her to Flagler Hospital, and that's when she died, at the age of 57. They're too young. She was in another work that didn't get done. She had a lot still to do, but it's over. In 49, she and Norton had written the will. She wanted to get everything down on paper. They had sold the hotel in 49 to the Ripley family. The hotel, the will provided for the University of Florida to come and take this house and make it a writer's retreat, all the property, all the orange trees, and the university was honored to be asked. She's an international literary figure. It's the perfect solution. Norton's fine with that. That solves the problem. They're going to take care of it. Give them the proper footing. And he's only interested in the furniture. That's what he's interested in. He's a hotel man. What happens to furniture when you have transit? Things happen. They get lost, broken views, whatever. So his interest was saving that furniture, and he does. And Marjorie, in 26 years of married life, had no children. desire he had was to keep her legacy intact. Didn't want to sell it off, didn't want to piecemeal it for value, he wanted to be there. So the university takes the house, he takes furniture and stores it. They keep the house for 17 years, till 1970, and then they get the state involved, come in and make it a historic home. Norton Baskin was at the table during this conversation, and he's aware of it all. And when he feels that it's safe, the furniture comes back, and it gets hand placed exactly the way it was when she lived here. So when we go in that house, it's her furniture, and it's set out as she lived it. We are a museum. We're a curated museum, but we're not set out. There's no cabinets, things under glass and all that. This is a living museum. This is the way she lived it. That's a special thing. We have Norton Baskin to thank for that, along with the University of Florida, actually. Between the both of them, was all saved for us here. Norton now lived there 44 years. He died in 1997. He was 95 years old when he died, and he always kept an eye on this place. He lived out his life in St. Augustine, never remarried. He said the spice had gone out of his life, and it was his intent to make sure this was going to be here for us. So it's just a great second marriage. This has always ended well. It ended because of that woman, Mrs. Norton Baskin. There's lots and lots to talk about Marjorie, and I could go on and on, but let's go in now. We have no air conditioning, just so we all know. We have some fans rotating around, and I'll try to be a little briefer so we don't get, some of the rooms are small. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. So let's go.
Let's go, guys.
Oh, I am, aren't I?
This is really interesting.
Yeah, it is. You leaving that for the chickens? It ain't chicken feed.
Chickens get the money.
When Charles and Marjorie come here, that's what the house looked like. Weathered
Oh, really?
pine.
Wow.
Board and batten, weathered pine,
It's crazy.
with a tin roof that was rusted and leaking. It didn't look like that. It didn't have any white paint on it and green trim. And it didn't have shakes on the roof. It had tin. Leaky,
Wow.
rusty tin.
Now, was all this stuff in here? Was all the stuff here hers?
No. No. As a matter of fact, this barn's a replica.
All the barns
The
are
barn
replica. Okay.
came down in the 90s.
Okay.
It was in Park's hands at that time. And it was unsavable.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the reason that good heart pine, you know what heart pine is? Yellow southern pine that's grown for centuries. And the resin builds up in it.
It's hard.
It's hard. It turns into iron. Well, the reason that good heart pine collapsed is because it never got sealed up with tape.
Oh,
And after
no.
120 years, the moisture will get to it.
Wow.
And the reason the house has survived is because she had a first coat of paint put on it after South Moon Under was published.
Now, how about termites?
Termites don't like it.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's resin.
Okay.
They
Oh,
don't like
wow.
to eat resin. They like to eat wood. And there's so much resin in it that that's not their favorite thing to eat.
So they don't even
That
touch
doesn't
it.
mean that a
That's
termite wouldn't
crazy.
touch it. It has had, it can be, but it won't be eaten through.
Right.
You know,
Oh, how about that?
because they don't want resin is probably pretty big.
That's
for
why
them.
these old cracker houses are still around.
Exactly why. It's not termite proof,
Right.
but it's
It's
certainly
amazing, guys.
Now that barn, we've had to termite treat a couple of times because it's just regular stuff.
Yeah.
They can get into that and not encounter so much resin.
Yes.
Oh, I'm hearing a little more things. I'm glad it got real hot when that sun came out.
Does the car belong to her?
No, it's what she had though, a 40 Oldsmobile.
really?
Wow.
And that's
That's pretty cool.
Standard, and someone gave us that.
Oh, wow.
She took $500 and went to Gainesville with the yearling money
Uh-huh.
and bought herself a new car.
Oh,
And,
wow.
uh,
I see a wasp inside it.
yeah, they
boy.
nest in there and
Yeah.
stuff. She also bought a cottage on Crescent Beach when she made that money.
Oh.
So she had an escape in the summer. Otherwise, she's here year round.
Is the cottage still there?
Cottage is still
Amazing.
there,
Is it?
privately owned.
Oh.
Been redone several times.
I hope they're gonna do something with it when they, you know.
They're good people and they have a heart for her,
Yeah.
but it's private.
Yeah.
So they don't want people coming up, and although they will on request and with a little organizing, they'll have an event there or do something there,
Yeah.
so people can kind of come and see it. And the rest of the time, they would rather just have their house to themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a honey of a house. Have you ever been to Crescent Beach?
No.
Yeah.
Well, you know where this is? It's east of A1A.
Oh.
There's a little road you can't see from A1A even.
Uh-huh.
It's called Broward Street. Just a quarter mile north of the bridge. When you come over the Intercoastal,
Yeah.
head left to go to St. Augustine. There's a cross street called Jellison Street.
Mhm.
And you'd think it's a driveway after it goes over A1A. Well, it's not a driveway. It connects to this Broward Street. That's where the house is. You can't see it from A1A. You can't see it from Broward Street. All the sea grapes and everything are just so
Yes.
thick. You can see it better from the beach side.
Oh, okay.
So,
So park your car and walk on the beach.
yeah, that's it.
Sounds like a
Um,
good idea.
Uh-huh.
And she would encourage that too, because she loved to walk in that beach. She'd walk,
Yeah.
oh, she would overwalk sometimes. She'd just find herself having walked too far. And sometimes there was a struggle getting back. This is the original farmhouse that was built. This is the oldest of the three
Wow.
buildings. 1884, Cracker Farmhouse.
It's amazing.
Oh.
And that
wow.
cracker style is 10-foot tall ceilings on the inside. With our
Wow.
piers. Board and batten, heart pie. The only way you cool yourself is with the cross breezers. And that's the only thing they had.
Oh boy.
No air conditioning. She didn't have fans or anything. So this is a very hostile climate, very hostile living condition. She says that 2 of the summers here were unbearable. I can relate to that. 2 of them were uncomfortable. The rest of them, she said, were pleasant. Those were the wet ones. Like right now, this summer, these are not going to bad couple of weeks with all this rainfall.
Yeah.
So that's what you get a pleasant outside. Is when you get a lot of rain. When you don't have rain, it's just too much. So when they got here, there was no screen porches. There was no screens in the window. No screens in the window. Imagine that. How do they do it? They
Bugs.
slept under mosquito nets. That's how
Oh,
they survived. And that's the way it was when they first got here.
Because they had to leave the windows open.
Oh, at night, sure. You
Yeah.
could just suffocate.
hot.
And that's when the mosquitoes come up. You know, when the sun goes down.
Gross.
And they would be eating you alive. So that's how, this was the tropics, essentially. That's how they lived it.
And you're even more
That's
hot.
the 1884 farmhouse. Two rooms. They first farmed in, they lived in there before they added a little lean-to room on the other side. And then the kitchen and dining room, that building on the other side of this, came along 1900. So that was up when they get here, as was that bedroom one, which was not built by, but purchased by the previous owners, the Armstrongs, whom they bought the farm from. They had 3 daughters, and they needed more bedroom space. And they bought that from a neighboring farm, and they dragged it over here by mule team.
Oh wow.
So it
That's
was
crazy.
here. All 3 buildings were here. It just didn't look anything like this. She connected them. She added 2 bathrooms. She had no bathrooms when she got here. Just the outhouse.
In the outhouse, is that where it was originally
Yes,
at?
yes, right there.
Wow.
She writes about that in Cross Creek
Yeah.
too. She calls it the misplaced edifice. The infernal box. You know, she writes a whole chapter about it. The evolution of comfort.
Oh, wow.
So come on through the house.
This is awesome.
And if you wait here, I will have to go inside and unlock
Oh.
that door.
They locked us out.
And
Oh,
my
boy.
colleague should have been on top of that. But I can't yell at him.
Crazy, they just drug that from somewhere else.
Right?
It's neat how they can move a house.
Yeah.
They can move a whole house.
Especially like that.
It must
with
be
just
made really
mules.
good underneath, because to be able to move a house, it has to be made really good underneath
Oh,
Yeah.
hello.
Oh
to be
yeah.
able to move.
Well,
it.
this house was that was moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that one. Thank you, Morgan.
Wow. Nice to sleep out
Oh.
You can feel the difference.
Oh,
when you-
yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Getting all the way in.
here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, see, these crackers, I'll tell you, they weren't unsophisticated. They were smart. It's better to be smart than sophisticated.
Oh,
Would you put that latch on me for me? The porch gets built out when she can afford it. It wasn't built out this far. She tells you in Cross Creek. It's only wide enough to put a chair and walk in front of.
Wow. So she
Where
built
that
the
beam
porch
is set
out.
is where the original overhang is.
Beautiful in here.
Where the beam is?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So it was a short porch, which is
Okay.
what these old crackers were.
Yeah.
And then they French doors and everything. So she builds this out when she can afford it, and this is where she works. Charles built the table and chair set.
Oh,
Soffit
wow.
wood,
Oh, it's
table and chairs.
Wow.
The seats of the chairs are deer hide. The base of the table is cabbage palms are the state tree of
That
Florida,
is so cool.
also known as sable palms.
Yeah.
And that was his chair, the off chair, right? Captain's chair.
That's
When he
awesome.
leaves, that's where she takes over. That's where she works.
Oh.
She, when she's on a project, first thing in the morning, she'll work through the day. She writes 8 books, 23 short stories, thousands of letters and other projects. And that's her spot, on Earth, surrounded by her orange trees. I mean, these trees are full of fruit, brightly colored fruit, burnished gold lanterns lit from within. That's how she describes them. It wasn't about oranges. They didn't come here for oranges. They came here for rain. And oranges, though,
Peace,
become
tranquility.
She found
Yeah.
paradise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
She fell in
definitely.
love with
She found paradise.
a little motivation and their inspiration.
And those are all of her books.
Those are her titles. We have a couple of her books. Her books, her papers, for the most part, are at the
Wow.
University of Florida,
Oh,
in the Smathers Library, in the proper place, temperature controlled and humidity
Right.
controlled.
Right.
And she is the largest of all the archives at the University of Florida.
Oh, my.
She gave it all to her. There's one other box that went up to South Carolina that her executrix sent up there. Julia Scribner, the daughter of Scribner, the publishing family. And she wound up sending a box of her things up to South Carolina, but the vast majority of it's here at the university. So this is where it happens. This is where her creative center is, right here. She can't write anywhere else she can here.
As hot as it is in here, it's beautiful.
Yeah, right.
It is.
And we're in summer.
So pretty.
You know, this is summer.
Yeah. Can you imagine not having air conditioning during the summer in Florida?
No.
That had to suck.
Oh, I
This
love
is the
that.
original
Oh.
farmhouse. Built by
Wow.
That's a Sleepy Hollow chair.
Oh, I love
They
It
it.
looks
brought that down from
comfortable.
New York with them.
Sleepy Hollow.
Wow.
Yep. And this is a fainting couch. It's a companion piece. It's the red
Look,
velvet.
guys.
They just
Oh.
bought a few pieces down. They didn't
That is
try
a
to move.
fainting couch?
That's what they called it.
I
They
feel like I'm
didn't-
gonna faint, I go over
Yeah,
there.
that's it. When you get the vapors, you head for that.
What's
and
this
and
room
when they
over
came
here?
down here, they weren't what?
What's this room over here?
Oh.
That closet?
Yeah.
The closet.
Well, when they first got here, that originally, let me just back up. That originally was used as a pantry, because the first farm family
Oh.
cooked there, and the kitchen
Wow.
hadn't been built. You know, this was the whole farmhouse right here.
Yeah.
So they
Oh,
would use
just
this.
this piece here.
This was it. In
This-
1884,
Oh,
and it had
little.
a dividing wall. So it was 2 rooms. This was the living side, and this was the sleeping side.
Oh,
And you did
wow.
everything over here: cook, eat,
And they had that.
and
smell.
entertain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they would cook on the hearth. With, you know, there's andirons in there and everything,
Oh,
and that would be their
Oh,
pantry,
wow.
because it was the kitchen.
yeah.
And when Marjorie and Charles get here, they don't need to cook there because the kitchen had been built. So she has another use for that closet, a more practical use. That's her liquor cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So she says in the wintertime there's firewood on the bottom and firewater on the top.
Oh,
She
yeah.
tells on herself, she doesn't try to hide any of her bad habits. She is who she is. And she's not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. I am who I am. And you love me or don't.
Mhm. Yep.
She buys a generator in 39 when the money from the yearling comes in. She was on oil lamps. That was her source of light for 10 years.
Wow.
Oil lamps. And then she can buy a Kohler generator. She has the house wired. And they wire the house and they drop a bare light bulb from the ceiling. And
Wow.
record, which is what they did then.
Mhm.
Problem is, although it's a great advance, you know, electric lights,
Yeah.
you can't look at them because their unfrosted bulbs are so glare,
so
you know.
bright.
So you have to cover them up. How do you cover them up? Well, there's no Home Depot down the road. So her idea was to get a wooden mixing bowls out of the kitchen,
Wow.
paint them white, and suspend them from the ceiling.
Oh,
And that's what they are.
It's a
And
good
that's-
idea.
That's
And they've survived.
pretty
It's
smart.
Out there, and one over here.
Yeah.
So she turned this derelict, and that dividing wall was still up. It was gray when they got here. It was overrun, hadn't been lived in for a year. It was overgrown. It was full of rats and mice and snakes and mud daubers and everything. And she turns it into this slowly. It didn't happen overnight.
You're okay.
It was a one little piece at a time. That's the way this got done. And a lot of people say, I certainly could live in here. You know, we have good pictures of her when she's entertaining in here because she had an
Yeah.
active social life, but it was infrequent. You know,
Yeah.
it didn't happen frequently. But when she did, beautiful gourmet meals that she would prepare.
My food lives here. It's just American.
Me
It's
too.
We love the property.
So pretty.
This room is called a lean-to.
Oh, wow.
It's not, it doesn't have a 10-foot tall ceiling. It was built onto the back wall of the farmhouse by previous owners. And it's
A lean-to?
A lean-to room. It's B-board. It's not the board and bath. So it's a little bit more modern. Mid-1890s, we don't know for certain exactly when. But this was built as a spare bedroom, and that's what she uses it for. And we use it to just show her work, whatever works. This is the only thing we've got, this is the only concession to this being a museum, because it's in a case under glass. Otherwise, you know, as I have already said, it's all laid out as she lived it. This center shelf is her primary work.
Wow.
And I got up to the Yearling, and then in '42, after the hotel was open, she publishes Cross Creek Memoirs. That is equally as successful as the Yearling. 500,000 copies in the first year. It has the same impact.
In different
It's a giant-
languages, too.
And
Like German and
chapter,
French.
and that's nonfiction. It's little, you know, she admits,
Yeah.
she dresses it up. You know, she's a highly creative person. But it's all real people in there. 120 people named by their real names. A living people when she wrote that. The chapter in there that gets the most attention from the readers is called Our Daily Bread. She's a gourmet cook. Self-made gourmet cook. It's her passion. Writing is not fun, easy. It depletes you. And she restores herself with her cooking and her serving people here. That's where her ego is in her cooking. She says, you can criticize my writing, I don't care. She wouldn't bother her, literally. But don't be indifferent to my table, is what she says. And that's a pretty hard charge. Don't be indifferent. Not just don't criticize it. Give me some compliments.
Yeah.
And Cross Creek Cookery comes out the same year, 1942. And it instantly becomes a bestseller. So she's got 2 bestsellers concurrent. And then it ultimately gets listed among the 100 most influential cookbooks in America.
That's
She's
crazy.
not a hobbyist. This was a passionate individual who knew how to describe it and explain it to people. It's a wonderful book. It's still in print. So is Cross Creek, so is the Yearling, all easy to get. We sell them here now. And this is the last book that is published as she dies, the year just before she dies, The Sojourner in 1953. And she's got a respectable body of work. It's not a book every 4 months, you know, it's not, this is all art, this is literature,
Yeah.
difficult to produce. There's a copy of her Pulitzer Prize. There are the Armed Services editions that were sent overseas with the soldiers. They
Oh, wow.
took 3 of her books, put them into this small format, unabridged, every word for word, in these little formats.
Cool.
And those guys were all like 18, 19 years old. And they could read in the dark almost. And she got letters from hundreds of soldiers.
Oh,
Everybody got an original response.
Oh my God.
that's
No phone
amazing.
letters.
That's beautiful.
No
Yeah.
phone letters.
Wow.
She developed lifelong correspondences with some of these boys. And she couldn't write fiction at this point.
Yeah.
The world was on fire. People were dying by the millions, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone was eaten up, especially these guys on the
Yeah.
front. So she devoted her time to them.
Yeah.
Drove Maxwell Perkins crazy.
Oh, really?
Yes. She's at her peak right here.
Yeah.
She's at her peak, and
Yeah.
she couldn't. And there's a copy of the Pulitzer as well over there.
Good
This is her in her riding chair that you saw.
Oh,
With her hunting dog Pat. She asked the locals to take her out. She's gonna write about what she knows. That was what Max advised her. She knew that. She figured that out. She had to understand what they do. She didn't know it instinctively. Show me what you do. And they, after they get to know her, they take her out. She goes on the hunts. She goes on deer hunts, alligator hunts,
Wow.
rattlesnake hunts. Goes on a bear hunt. How else can you write
No
about a bear hunt?
way.
There's no other way to write about it. And she was on bear hunt several times with Barney Dillard, the great bear
Wow.
hunter from the Big Sky.
Oh, pardon me, dear.
In her garden, on the back porch to the bedroom wing, on Salt Springs, getting freshwater crabs. That's Norton. She'd bring them back here, and she would make a crab Newburgh a la Cross Creek
Yum.
with Dora's cream. That was her Jersey cow's cream. That she said it was like a gift from God for us.
Mm. Why are the windows so low in here?
This was built. They were built to the ground. This porch didn't exist when this was built.
Oh.
This spare room was added onto the farmhouse back wall, and they're correct to the ground.
Yeah.
She had porched it. as a matter of fact. And then there was, so you come out, you go on the ground, and you enter steps to go into the kitchen and dining room, which has to be separate from the farmhouse
Yeah.
for the heat and for fire.
Mm-hmm.
And she did the porching, she had that done, and she enclosed some of the roofing. So
Wow.
she's made it into a one-piece, 3,000 square foot house. This man his name is Julian Balknight. The Balknights were original settlers in this area. Just like the Long family was, whom she met and stayed with, and learned the story of the yearling. That's Cal Long, the man with the rifle. Marjorie met him, stayed with that family for a couple of weeks, and they shared their story with her. And his brother Hal, his younger brother, when they were boys, adopted an abandoned fawn and took it to raise. There's the story of the yearling.
Oh, wow.
And Hollywood came out and filmed it on the spot where that cabin stood. So when you see that
Wow.
movie, that's where the Long family lived.
Oh,
They're a fascinating story. There's Chuck Rawlings, the rakish-looking guy. There's Barney Dillard, the famous bear hunter.
Oh, okay.
Took Martin and found Marjorie, learned about Spooffoot through Barney Dillard. He was known as a bad man, but he was a decent man. He had 14 kids, and he's a family man, but he could go do the bear hunts.
Yeah.
He was the toughest guy. And this man is of the same ilk as them. Came down here from up north, by ox cart, put a cabin, still living when Marjorie had a photo shoot from Life magazine, was going to do a piece about Marjorie, and George Carter, the famous photographer, was sent down, and Marjorie said, well, let's go over and visit Mr. Balknight. And they're sitting on his cabin porch, about a mile away from here, deep in the woods. And so he's a genuine article. And you can see the way she's looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a respect there.
Mm-hmm.
A reverence, even.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people that knew. She was the one who didn't. They were the masters. She was the student. And she always looked up to them for their fortitude and for their courage. And you didn't have to be a graduate of the university or whatever. She didn't require that. It was who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons they accepted her.
Mm-hmm.
She was so different. Just incredibly different.
Yeah.
Came in from up north. Wow, what does that make her? Hanky.
Mm-hmm. Carpetbagger.
Right. That's right there. You know how
Oh,
to
yeah.
change. And she drank. She let people know she drank, and she smoked cigarettes, and that's definitely
Honest.
Mhm.
She was open about it, and she was divorced. She was a divorced woman, and she wrote for a living, and she went to college. That ruins women back in those days. She had everything on the X side, but they take her in and accept her as one of theirs because she didn't come here to poke them and see which way they move and then write about them. She came here to become them. That's what she did. How else do you write like this? Everything had to be authenticated. Nothing she wouldn't let it go to the publishers if it wasn't vetted and authenticated by people who knew. She didn't want to be someone making up stories about it. She wanted to recount the lives. She found them to be fascinating.
I have a feeling if you turn that on, it would blow dust
No.
all over.
It's not a Dyson.
Move along quickly. It's kind
Oh,
of
wow.
stuffy. This
Whoa.
is the bathroom she builds when she gets a check from Jacob's Ladder in 1931. The short story she had written, a beautiful short story.
Flowers in the
She
toilet.
goes from Cracker Chidlings, which is almost journalistic, to Jacob's Ladder, which is straight literature, just like that. $700 check came from Scribner's. They published it, and she had 580 was owed in debt immediately. She's got about 120 bucks left, and she decides that she's going to have to invest it. Otherwise, it's going to slip right through her fingers.
Mm-hmm.
She invested in plumbing because all she has is an outhouse. And this is the bathroom that there was nothing here. This was an open space and a bare ground
Oh,
between this thing that got dragged over by mules.
Oh,
That was
wow.
carpet.
So she just
Oh,
going in
that's
between.
She built this. She said it was like an architect left it here intentionally to put a bathroom.
Yeah.
So she has Mo build this, and they find the fixtures, and Mo does all the work, figures out how to plumb it in, because there's no water system or sewer system down here. And if you have a toilet, you need sanitary sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He figures it all out, and she's got the only bathroom across the creek.
Wow.
did people come to?
She had a party.
Oh, I remember that. That's
Yeah.
right.
She had a party. She had to show it off and let everyone see it. She tells us there was a tray of glasses on that sink.
Mm-hmm.
You come in, grab a glass. There's drinks and ice in the tub. You fill
Oh,
it up,
wow.
and then you toast. in the toilet had a big bouquet of roses in it.
Oh,
She said that was
Thomas,
the
look at
appropriate
this.
place for roses.
Oh.
Sweet smelling flowers. And they came in and they toasted and down the hatch. They had a great
Wow.
time, she said. It was a gala event.
Look at that with Dr. Scholl's.
Yeah.
They could go to the outhouse.
They could go to the outhouse.
So,
That house
That
was
is
still
so
in play.
cool.
yeah, she probably didn't want everybody using her bathroom. Go back out to the outhouse.
You know, roses, you know, was made for the
Pretty
party,
awesome.
you know, you have
Right.
some little gaiety.
That's pretty cool though.
Watch out the step.
Okay.
Don't let it trip.
Old tub. It looks like something you do, Thomas.
Oh,
Let's put some flowers in the toilet.
Yeah, as soon as you get into the 10-foot ceiling
Oh, wow.
situation, you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
How they arrive.
And just a little fan, that's,
This is her guest bedroom?
Oh, well, I'm a guest tonight. I need a place to stay tonight.
That bed, that's the one you want?
I don't care.
Low sides, get rid of this bed.
Oh, wow.
Barn, everything you use,
It's old
and
buddy.
that's where her guests stay.
It's a singer, too.
And, it's a 1700s bed. And a lot of,
1700s bed?
yep.
Oh, wow.
Some of the people
Guys,
who
look at
took
that.
beds were her peers, or who, you know, among others who stay here. She's connected, she's not here to be a hermit. She wants them to come and see her shaggy farmhouse. That's her name. And, Bonnie Fundamental,
Look at the
represent
glasses.
people who stayed here as her guests.
Those cameras
Yeah,
are
Robert Frost
amazing.
multiple times. Ernest
So
Hemingway.
Horses
Zora Neale. Yeah, she did. She had a great
Wow.
connection with her. She tried to mentor her. She connected with her much more perfect to help her. Oh, there was no doors open.
yeah.
And Zora Neale had nothing but great things to say about Margaret. And Margaret Mitchell, she and Margaret Mitchell had great friendship.
Yeah.
They had a lot in common, as a matter of fact. Names. And some of the other names, Thornton Wilder.
Old singer. It's pretty amazing.
Dylan Thomas, the Welshman, the drunken poet. is his
Yeah.
name. Wendell Willkie, who was a presidential candidate, and others. And Gregory Peck stayed here. Who has seen the movie?
Whoa.
Yeah.
She went down to watch him film, 30 miles from here, and she
Wow.
invited the cast and crew to come up. We'll have a party. And they
He
came
stayed
up,
in here?
and he stayed here.
I'm swooning.
Yeah.
He's still
Who's
one
in
of
the
my
picture on the
favorites.
wall?
What?
Who's in the picture on the wall?
That's a woman named Gertrude Johnson, who must have had a major impact on her life as a professor at the University of Wisconsin.
This is, she put this.
Wow.
It was in her possessions.
Look at those purses.
Have you ever found out the history of that woman?
Valuable papers.
Oh, yeah, she was very accomplished. Marjorie Acton, she was a professor of drama, and she was at
Everything's
the
so
highest
old.
level of all the academic associations.
I don't know, maybe.
Of the universities around. So she was a stalwart in the area of drama in academia, and she must have had a big influence on her. Marjorie Acton, with Frederick Marsh, who was also in Wisconsin at the same time. She had a starring role in one of the plays. It was called, the name of the play was called Lima Beans.
How about that?
And when you hear her talk, she projects. You can hear the projection.
Yeah.
And there are some voice recordings. So how the heck did Gregory Peck fit in that bed? We don't know.
Yeah.
He's 6'4", 6'5". No one
Oh,
knows.
wow.
Oh, wow.
You have to bend your legs.
Whoa.
Right.
Oh, is that the closet?
That's a closet. It's not a pass-through. Her bedroom's on the other side of this wall.
How do you, oh, you can't pass through? Oh,
No, you
she had to
can't.
go
You have
outside?
go on the porch, right.
Oh, wow.
Are those her actual clothes?
We only have a few of her articles. A lot of it was saved in
Wow.
an unair-conditioned warehouse on the beach in St. Augustine. A lot of it didn't make it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
all the hard goods did.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That makes sense.
Yes.
So when she had company at night, if she needed to use the bathroom, she'd go down the porch. And there's an outside door to that bathroom.
Oh, wow.
It was easily accessible. And she
So they
wouldn't try
could
to.
use it, she could use it.
Right. She wouldn't want to walk through there and sleep.
Right.
So come on out here
So this was awesome.
and make a right, and we'll go
Wow.
into her bedroom.
Oh, it's so cool to have a separate living space.
There's your wraparound porch.
It's almost a wraparound.
Almost, yeah.
So there's her outhouse.
Wow.
It's a beaut, isn't it?
Yes.
You ever see an outhouse with a full-length screen door?
No.
That's what that is. And
Really?
she writes about it. She said that's like not having a door.
Yeah.
Your ventilation is good, but your privacy is shot. I'll tell you the rest of that story. Here's her bedroom. There's the second bathroom in Cross Creek.
Look at that.
Oh my goodness. Look how pretty. This is like
It's a
amazing.
Very spacious. She had a little.
Oh, nice.
I'm
Touch
so-
there.
She, what's that?
The woodpeckers.
Right.
Look at that horse. That must be like Fox.
I'm sorry.
She's, well, no, she's addicted to people.
Yeah.
She had a shower up on the wall.
That's
There's a story
crazy.
about that.
No.
It's in that same chapter. They had to place that shower head. They didn't know what to do. No one had a shower.
Right.
Down here. Mo didn't know where to put it. They asked Marty, him and his 4 sons, though, they were old enough to help with the construction of it, and they had to place it.
Yeah, right.
And Mo said, Margaret, we'll do this the right way.
So chiller.
Tell us where you want this here shower head to stream water to hit you. Get in the tub and show us where do you want the water to hit you. So she gets
Oh,
in
wow.
the tub. She's got 5 men looking at her. She said she never felt so undressed in her life and can still be dressed. So that's part of that same chapter. There's Marjorie, an 18-month-old.
Aw, the baby?
18-month toddler in DC.
Aw,
You can see her adult
that
face.
is
in
so
that
cool.
picture. Over the mantle is Marjorie when she's graduating from the University of
Wow.
Wisconsin. She was 22, 1918.
You're okay. You're fine.
She's really beautiful.
Yeah.
And across the room from her is Norton Baskin. And that's her second husband, and I told you the mother's story. We're just very fortunate that
I'm
he
so
was-
curious.
He
If
came
there's
from,
makeup in here.
Union Springs,
There is.
Alabama.
Wow.
And he wanted to become a hotel man. So he has a
There's stuff
car,
in
of
it.
course.
What
And
if there's makeup?
he came here to learn the business, and he gets tangled up with Marjorie Wallace. And we're glad he did.
Is this for real?
No.
Okay.
Oh, it's
None of
not?
the paper.
Oh, this is a nice bathroom.
No one knows where they are.
Oh, but this is a real typewriter, it's just not yours.
Of course.
Oh, okay.
There's a shower.
From the
Oh,
era.
wow. This goes into that other bedroom?
No.
Oh.
Remember on this side of the wall
Was
the
the closet.
In this
Yeah.
room, it's on that
It's
side.
on that
And
side.
the space in between
Oh.
is where the fireplace is. So it
Okay,
was designed.
yeah.
And that's a mixing bowl.
Another mixing bowl.
I love it.
You're gonna go home and make some mixing bowl lights?
Are we gonna?
We can do it around the pool.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
What are those mixing bowls?
So the outhouse, I just gotta. She writes about this. It's maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say the most interesting chapter, but it's an integral part of Cross Creek. It's a chapter about the bathrooms and the outhouses. The Evolution of Comfort is the name of that chapter. She
bet.
winds up with an outhouse that's got a screen door on it, full length. She just like not having a door. You know, your ventilation's good, but your privacy is shot.
I walked right up to it and didn't even realize it was a screen door.
So you got there, and then you can see inside of it.
Yeah.
Her Uncle Fred is invited to come, and he makes the trip down before the bathrooms are built. Her favorite uncle makes the trip, and she has a gathering of people. This is an occasion. He's the honored guest. She provides a beautiful gourmet meal. Uncle Fred is as the honored guest. He's using the outhouse, and he gets walked up on by somebody. She explains by the time you're close enough to see if anyone is behind that screen, it's too late. You're exposed, and he was embarrassed.
Oh.
He asked for the red card.
Wanna go see it, guys?
It stays in when it's empty. You want to go see it? You can. The red flag is flying.
Wow.
The giant flag flies. You walk out.
Oh, wow.
What does she do with it? Your brother's all, those were Uncle Fred roses.
Oh, my.
With his note card on it and everything. Martha, she's the great story.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
indeed she is. So we're gonna go down this porch, we're gonna go through that screen door, and there's a little incline where that wall comes out. Don't let it trip you up.
Don't trip.
Oh, wow.
That door door just opened for me.
Okay.
That door just opened for me. That's
Welcome.
so
Come in.
crazy.
What?
Hello. Hello there.
That was weird.
That was so weird, and I caught it on camera.
That opened so quick too. It was like,
It opened right up for me.
I saw it.
holy
So,
crap.
You go into the dining room.
Oh wow.
That's the most important room in the house. That's where the laundry is.
Oh, look at the glassware.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is.
Wow.
The original hardwood floor.
Oh,
You can't drive an nail in it.
original floors.
Oh wow. Yeah, the floors are
The
beautiful
nail in
too.
it.
Oh, it's fixing the store. We're gonna.
And all this china in here is hers. Everything but the table. Her table was bigger. So this is a stand-in. She gave her table away.
Oh, she did?
Yes.
Oh.
To a friend. And that's fine because we wouldn't be able to fit in this room. She had 10 at her table. So it's a little china. And that's her Wedgwood china. That's the pattern of the corners of the heart. More here, the rest of it there. The brown is Wedgwood said also called bullfinch. And the gilded plates are Czechoslovakian hand painted.
Uh-huh.
The blue glass is Mexican homegrown glass.
Blue glass is
This
really
her passion,
pretty.
Mary Hadley. Folk china. You familiar with Hadley?
No, I'm
From
not.
Louisville?
My grandma had some of that.
It would have
She
Hadley.
still has some of it. Oh yeah.
Very, very
That's
collectible.
beautiful.
Very collectible. She became famous. She was the artist. She was in Louisville. Louisville has the soil around Louisville is perfect for making clay pottery. And she was so popular with her illustrations, she started her own company. And Marjorie had commissioned those from Mary Hadley. That's very thoughtful.
You just walk in your chair.
Yes.
That's why we can only do it when it's helped out at the hotel.
Yeah.
Boom.
Because
No, you're fine, dear. I'm listening to every word you're saying.
I'm so intrigued.
Marjorie would sit
And we had so
at
much
this
to do.
seat at the table
Yes.
only for one reason, not to be at the head, or even to be close to the kitchen.
Oh.
Her maids, she teaches them how to cook.
Oh,
Her
okay.
respects. She sits there because this person has one view through the entire meal. If you stand behind that chair and look out that window,
Yes.
you're looking at an outhouse.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
yeah.
never wants anyone to be thinking about the outhouse while they're having their
Oh.
meal at her table. So this is her being considerate of her guests.
So she looked at
She
the
sits
outhouse.
there. She looks at the outhouse. She doesn't want her guests. She doesn't want to embarrass any guests.
About that window to the outhouse.
Isn't that something?
Oh yeah. She got a real good view of that.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Oh yeah, it's like spot on. Right in the middle of the window.
The misplaced edifice, she called it.
Yeah.
The infernal box.
Okay.
So we can go with the kitchen.
Oh
the
wow.
kitchen's
Whoa.
I know. It's really gorgeous.
Oh, look at that stove.
Nature's air conditioner just got turned on.
Yes.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a man coming behind it. And if y'all want to beat it to the car, I don't blame you. But she had a wood burning cook stove. And we cook on this. It works. We don't fire it up this time of year, of course.
Oh,
But it does
you
work?
do?
Wow.
Yeah, we cook on it.
When do y'all use? I mean, is it like a festival or
Oh, there's
something?
We
more.
have had with cooking demonstrations that we were doing regularly before the pandemic, so it all got wiped out last year.
Are you
I'm
serious?
serious. That we have some people who know how to
Back to
operate.
the door.
It's a very skilled thing.
Yeah.
We would cook wood burn stove. And we would do it. Our visitors could see it. Could get some warmth in this room in the wintertime. And then we would send and we cook from here,
So, I guess cornbread.
obviously.
Yes.
And
It's your cookbook.
just Louisville's her baked goods for sure.
Yeah.
She has a whole array of baked goods. Her utterly deadly southern pecan pie, which she said that she would only eat a little nibble of it because she wanted to live out her life. You know, and her, only a fat man would eat a whole slice of that because it's like a confection as much.
Yeah.
And it's delicious. We had a pecan pie baking contest here.
Wow.
So some of the people in the area who have their own family recipes and
Yes.
everything, bring your pecan pie. Judge, 3 judges, judging forms, the whole thing, line taste testing. We went through
Wow.
the whole ordeal. Guess which one won?
Hers.
The utterly deadly southern pecan pie. It was the best.
Nice.
Oh, I love all that.
Me
So,
too.
She was a special passion person in the kitchen. This is where her passion came.
That's
And
amazing.
she continued to make marmalades and jellies.
Oh wow.
the stove top, you know, she let that, turn that over.
Thank you.
But she always made jellies and marmalades. We do that too.
Guys, look at
With her varieties of fruit. On this wood stove with cast iron, according to her recipe. We try to do it. That's the only way to do this.
It's cooler in here than outside.
Oh,
I
right
mean,
now, the Nature's AC just got turned on YouTube.
Wow.
I got a picture of my mom churning butter. Is that butter churner?
That's a temperature.
So, I'm hoping to retire in like 5 years and I wanna move up to this area. I'm in Orlando.
You're too young.
Thank you, but I'm not. For my second job. But how do you get to be a
Coffee grinder.
volunteer? I mean, I
It's a
imagine
coffee
it's gotta be
grinder.
tough. I imagine that,
Yeah.
to me, it is a very auspicious position.
Wanna come in here?
It's a matter of
Oh, two on there.
desire and wanting to
It's
do
really
it.
tiny.
Yes,
And it depends on what you like to do for sweetener.
yeah,
Wow. It's pretty cool.
yeah.
This sugar thing too, wow.
From it,
Yes,
the original stuff.
wow,
So there's that part of it,
yeah,
and then tour guides.
yeah,
And a tour guide has to be conversant
Yeah.
about Marjorie, and it takes a while before
Yeah.
you are that way.
yeah.
And I don't know. I've read everything she's written.
And how long have you been doing this?
9 years. Retired.
Yeah,
This is
what'd
my
you retire
retirement.
from?
Journalism was my degree.
Wow.
Is that okay? And were you a journalist?
I was for the first 5 years.
And where was that?
And then UPI, when they had a print
Oh,
bureau.
really?
And Paul Wyatt in Jacksonville was the bureau chief who I worked for. And then I got out of it. I didn't like that racket.
Yeah,
That was a good move.
yeah. And what did you do after
It was
that?
going wrong. I went into association work and I was communicating for the Chamber of Commerce. Stayed there long enough to become the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce. So
Fabulous.
I was the CEO and exec for 5 years there. And then I went on to a career communicating for corporate, and that was for Cox Communications. Just when video, voice, and data was coming in,
Yeah.
a lot of communication needs, and stayed there for 11 years. That gig was what allows me to do this,
Good for you.
because they took care of me. I was the VP when I left there.
Good for you.
And then I became the executive director of the Education Foundation in Lancaster County, raising money for classroom teachers and for scholarships for kids who
Wow.
were smart enough and had no chance of going to college.
Yeah.
So we did that and paired them with mentors, and I did that for a couple of years.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And then
That had to be the
after-
most rewarding.
Oh, it was,
Of course.
clearly. But the chamber was,
Yeah, yeah,
I was in the mix.
Yeah.
And I loved it. You're in it. And try to do good.
yes, yeah,
And that was the whole, you can do good.
yeah.
How do you remember all that stuff to say?
I've read everything that Marjorie's written. I've read all
Wow.
her letters. I read everything that's written about her. And I keep reading it. And
Yeah.
I keep reading it. So she has become a
That
study.
repetition.
She's like a study for me.
Wow.
And people ask me if I'm a professor. I say, God, I'm not a professor. The professors are nice people.
Mm-hmm.
They rub the romance out of it. And I'm more of a PR guy than anything else. You can tell. It's the way I talk. And although journalism was my degree,
Yeah.
I do, I like to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done
Very
a lot
good
of
at
public
it.
speaking. I've done a lot of public speaking, and that was a big part of my job. Thank you very much.
You're
It was a big
welcome.
part of my job was public speaking, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and this is definitely, what do I want to say? I'm not a person of words. But this definitely
It's like
just
rewarding.
inspires the words to, it's every inch of it, it's an inspiration and, it's beautiful.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of historic homes in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Emerson,
Mhm.
Gamble, all these, they're magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
And they're worth every bit of attention that they get.
Mm-hmm.
But none of them are this.
Mm-hmm.
This is inspiration.
Mhm.
Those are built after these geniuses had put their life together and made a lot of money, and they built these splendid homes.
And
What
it was
is
about the
that?
money,
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
She's closing windows.
Oh,
The cemetery where Marjorie's buried is right down the road.
really?
A couple miles. or so.
7 miles.
7 miles?
Yeah,
What's it,
yeah.
what's it towards?
Well, you go through Island Road. Go 4 miles till you get to 301, then you cross 301 carefully, because that's
Yeah.
a super highway.
Oh, lovely.
And then you go through Island Grove, which is no longer, it used to be a thriving town when all the oranges were going through there. But now it's just a couple of buildings. And you go through there and you follow, there's a sign that takes you to the winery, the Island Grove Winery, and also the Antioch Cemetery. It's a graded road by the time you get onto it. And then you go down this graded road and you'll come across the cemetery. And it's a lonely little Antioch Cemetery. Not little, Antioch Cemetery out kind of in a wooded area. Or clear,
Wow.
with
Is the
fields.
grave site easy to find, or is it
Yeah,
something
it
you
is.
might not find?
Don't go into the fence the first fence you come to.
Okay.
Then you'll be walking well through the graveyard. Go up the side of the graveyard for a couple of 100 yards, and you'll see another gate.
Okay.
And stop, and there's no traffic to worry about. You stop, and then go through that gate, and you walk down. It's kind of like the middle road of it.
Mm-hmm.
She's on the left with Norton Baskin. She and Norton are side by side, and the gravestones are
So
flat
you
on the
just
ground.
walk down a little ways
Mhm.
and you'll see it?
Yeah, you'll see it.
Oh, wow.
You'll see the deers that people carve and put on it.
Oh.
Yeah, and the pencils
Aw.
and pens that people use.
Uh-huh.
You know, people make
That would be something
pilgrimage.
cool to do. You guys
Yeah.
would do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Norton had to write her epitaph for her gravestone, and she didn't die. You know, she died suddenly,
Yeah.
and it was him. It was up to him to write her epitaph. That was a daunting thing. She's one of the great writers ever produced, and he agonized over it a little bit, and he came up with it. He nailed it. He said, and it says on her stone, through her writing, she endeared herself to the people of the world. Perfect. She doesn't belong across the creek. She doesn't belong to Florida. She belongs to the world, and he recognized it. So
Aw.
I'm not sure that this is going to be here. Her legacy survives, in large part to his doings.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much. That was amazing getting to see this.
You're welcome.
Oh, geez, that's so good.
Isn't it? Yeah, come on out here.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on out here.
Ooh.
It's a little cold.
What is this?
That's a clapper for that bell. It's just a regular.
Oh, I wonder
Oh.
how big it was.
She had an ice box.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Put your slab of ice and stuff in
This
there.
is-
That's so crazy.
Marshmallows.
You know, in the summertime, Adele Parker, who was Marjorie's maid, who had written a book, tells us that she got a new delivery of ice every day in the summer.
Mhm.
These
Oh,
things
wow.
had no insulation. A piece of wood, a piece of tin.
Yeah.
Air is the only insulation. It has an Ardell.
Yeah, but she definitely tried to do
And then
this
after
cemetery.
24 hours, this 40-pound block
Alright.
of ice melts down, and she's got a new one.
Should we get a new one every
See that?
how
Every
often?
day.
Every
in the
day.
summer. Maybe 3 times
Morning
a week in
glories.
the winter, you know. In the frozen rivers and lakes. And that was how they did it up there. Down here, they
Right.
didn't have frozen
Where's
rivers
Thomas?
and lakes. They were able to make it artificially. There was a big chamber that they put potable water in,
I
and there
think
were
they're
pipes
looking
that
at
ran
stuff.
through that chamber. So the water goes into the chamber, and then they pump ammonia and brine through those pipes. That takes the temperature below freezing. Overnight,
Wow.
they freeze that big thing of water. There's a huge block of water.
How about
Use a
that?
block of ice, and they cut them, and they put them on the wagon, and there would be sawdust and everything around it, and she did it.
No, it's okay.
Science.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
He built the
Whoa.
wood box,
For all the fire.
the bench, the
wood.
wood box. He built this, and he left here before the house ever got painted. It was after her first novel that she had the money to paint the house. So when he builds this, he comes up a section of wall.
Oh,
That's the whole house looked like that.
There was a
None of
dead
this-
lizard on the wall.
That's why I painted here. So quite inadvertently, he said that for us.
Yep.
So we did good
Oh
job.
Lord. Oh hello.
And
Hey guys, so that was pretty cool. What did you think? That was really cool.
It was longer than I thought it was going to be.
I
I didn't
know.
want to miss out on all the other stuff. I
Yeah.
kind of wish we had did the other stuff first.
But the rain's slowing down, so we should be okay. But we were told this is like the tenant's house. It's super dark in there. I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see, but this video is probably going to be like 3 parts. Because I recorded it all the way through and it's like an hour and a half or something like that. So, put it in a few parts for you guys. But we're heading to the cemetery next, right? To go find her grave? It looks like it's slowing down. I'm not sure. Hope you guys enjoyed that.